Hello, I'm Dominic.
I'm Jim.
From Float Fishing Connection. Today we're going to go over how you can tie your own jigs up. We're going to give you a kind of a demo on tying an elaborate jig that involves multiple materials, and a more basic jig which is claimed to catch more fish than the elaborate one. So we'll see exactly how that pans out on the river. So we're going to start off with the jig heads, and that's coming up next.
Okay, we have here a 1/32 ounce jig head, 6/0 thread, a couple of simple materials to tie. First, you want to put on a base, something that allow the materials to hold on to on the bare hook. Then you want to start building up your body. This is a simple tie. I'm going to use a little bit of Christmas tree tinsel. Everybody likes tinsel. Getting close to the head. Then use your black marabou and tie it in on the sides.
What do you got there? What type of material?
Just some ice braid, give it a little body.
And I notice you're using pink, a reddish pink, and we spoke about this earlier off camera. What's the thought process with the?
Normally, your jigs are supposed to kind of look like a injured minnow, so we want it to look like it has some blood coming out of its gills.
There you go. And would that take you about 30 seconds?
You can actually do these in less than 30 seconds, laying out all your material.
Very nice. When I originally purchased these jigs, they came with this protrusion here. It's part of the lead molding. And what I've done is taken the liberty to file them down flat on both sides and flat on top and the bottom. And I believe this will allow me to tie the material in on the sides that we'll get to later, and allow it to lay there a little bit more easily. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to grab the thread. I'm using some Danville 6/0, and I'm just going to lay down a base. And the base will allow the material to sit where you want it and not move around the hook, or in this case, the head. Okay, now that I got that down, I'm going to tie in some black marabou. I want to get it so that it sits on both sides. So we're going to pinch it on both sides, bring it forward just a little bit so I can get to the length I want, and tie a couple wraps in there to hold it in place. And then I'm going to cut off the excess. There's quite a bit of it. I'm not too concerned with this collar, although I will trim it just a little bit more. But this excess marabou will be compressed with the wraps I'll put down, and also the couple other layers of material that I'm going to go to next. Next material I'm using is going to be this yellow. I've chosen yellow of this unique hair to match on the head of this jig. It's actually the same color, so I'm just kind of trying to follow a theme here. I'm going to tie in a little bit on one side and a little bit on the other to flank each side, and that was the reason for the flat spot that I used the file on. So let's see how good that works. It seems to be working pretty good, exactly the way I thought it would. Okay, we're going to cut off the excess material. I'm going to use the rest of it on the other side. Okay, the last little bit of material that I'm going to tie in here is after I trim off the excess on this side. There we go. It's going to be some red marabou to give it that bleeding gill type look. Always looking for methods that we can tie in to, I need a little bit more, tie in to give it a little bit more attractant and maybe result in a little bit higher probability of a hookup. Tie in that side, cut off the excess, and bring it to the other side. Get a little bit of this out of my way so that I don't tie it down. Okay, there we go. And I'm just going to put a nice collar on it. And like I said, all that excess thread that I wrapped before, it's disappeared, it's gone. You can't see it. And if you're after looks, which I got to be honest with you, talking to Float and watching him fish, the fish don't care too much about the aesthetic properties of it. When they're ready to key in on the jig for whatever reason, they're keying in on it. So, but this gives it a nice tight collar. Doesn't look like there's a lot of excess body or material, and goes exactly for the look that we're looking for. Also keep in mind, once this hits the water, it's going to cut down its size, probably a quarter, especially the marabou. And have a sleeker appearance, almost like the side of a shiner, and that's what we're after.
A base with 6/0 thread, something that'll hold the material in place. This time we're going to use a little bit of purple marabou, put it on either side of the jig head. Couple of wraps, get it in place. Quick trim. I'm going to tie in a little extra flash. More. Thread for the body. Tie it off. Simple tie.